Oh, okay. Being weird. Why would it be private? Well, okay, so I gotta try this again. Just to see. Well, why can't I see it? Well, oh, okay, I see. I'm not checked in the right account. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now let me. All right. So anyway, YouTube is going, but I don't know. I can't seem to find it on here, but I'm pretty sure it's running. Just a minute here. Let's see. I would like to go to my channel. Okay, right here. Channel. Oh, yep. Okay, it's running. Good deal. All righty then. So, okay, as you see on the screen, let me see. That's on. Okay, got that on the screen. Just getting this all. Oops. Okay, I think I'm ready. Okay, so today we've been talking about Megan Ashley's or mare's foot that she's having trouble with. So we're going to go take a look at that, and we're going to show you how what's going on with this foot is it is hoof bound. And so when a foot is hoof bound, what does that mean? That means that the anatomy of the back of the foot, the cartilages, the bulb, the digital cushion, the frog, that's supposed to be, just a minute here. Let me get to the photo. I'm lost. Now I'm screen sharing, but I can't find my thing. Just a second. I seem to be lost. Oh, that's because it's in paint. That's right. Okay. Okay, so well, I'll just do some annotating here. Just a second here. Let's do it in blue. Okay, so you see on this horse's foot here.
Screen share?
Oh, I'm not screen sharing?
I have just a white screen.
Now do you have it? Has
Yep.
anybody else got it?
Now it's the truth about founder and rotation poster.
Okay. Okay, so all right, so now I'm going to annotate. All right, so on this foot here, again, this is a video on Facebook. Okay, so we're just going to kind of draw in what the foot should have been like so. Well, that's not very good. Should have been like this. About like so. That would have been that horse's real foot. More like that. And so, okay. So there's stuff here. And there's stuff in here. See, we're going to be real scientific here. So if I take this stuff that's here and I shove it all, press it down here and shove it forward into here, well, then all this stuff that's here gets shoved into here, and it does this right here, what you're seeing here. Okay, took the back of this foot that should have been, clear out like that, shoved it into here, and it shoved this joint forward. Look here, see the bump? That's what that is right there. Okay, shove this forward. Well, then it pushing into that joint, it rotated the bone downward. And at the same time, you got to remember, you're dealing with two different objects here. Yes, they are connected. Yes, one grows from the other. But there's two different objects. One is permanent. This bone is permanent. And all the foot that goes with it, that's attached to it, you know, it's got a foot on there, you know, like so. All this foot that's on it, that's permanent on the horse here. Okay, the capsule is connected but separate, and it has to fit on this foot a specific way. And so when you start over trimming the heels, you know, you see how much is bone, right? That much. The rest is all fat and cartilage. Now you got fat and cartilage on your body. Can you move it around? You take your nose and slide it over the side of your face. You can bend your ear down. You ever had, I don't know about you, but I'm old enough to have had my ear pulled, you know, back in the day, you know, that was one way to correct a kid. Let me tell you what, that washing your mouth out with soap, getting spanked. Let's see, what things I get spanked with? Hairbrush, fly swatter. No, not a fly swatter. Spatula, that was a good one. Belt. So see, you got fat on your body and you can move it around. And so it's just like, you know, they advertise those spandex suits you can wear under your clothes, and you got these rolls of fat, and you can put those on and it makes you look shapely and stuff. So same thing here. This is all cartilage and fat, and it only maintains its shape, its true shape and form, if the hoof capsule is growing correctly from it, supporting it. As soon as you start trimming out these heels, it changes everything. And so what we have here, all the back of this horse's foot that should have been out here got shoved into here. Well, and okay, now one of the things that'll happen, it can pull the hairline down like that, or their foot will just keep standing up, and it'll take the sidewall here and it'll just wrap it around the back of the foot, and the horse will look like it has heels. Like these look like heels, right? It's not even heel. See, this horse responded by wrapping his foot around and back behind him and under the bulb, making his own elevated heel height, but the heels are gone. The heel buttress is totally wrapped around into the frog. And so what you have here is just sidewall. You just have sidewall that was in front of the heel. See, in reality, it went like this. And so as the heel was trimmed out, then the foot would try and stand buck up where it needs to go. And as it would just pull this wall here around behind and under it. And so then it curled the heel, it curled the physical heel in as well, not just the bulbs. You know, you got your coronary band here. Okay, that would be your coronary band. Growing the hoof wall. We'll make this a little bit up here. And then back here under this part of the coronary band is where the heel buttress grows. See, right there. I should have made it so it fit the one I put there. But anyway, that's where your heel buttress would be, right in there. This gets totally wrapped around the back of the foot. so that by the time all this is wrapped around and crushed and shoved up and pulled under, whatever the least path of resistance is there for it, okay, it gets bound up. The foot gets bent, for one thing. The foot gets bent as well, I should say. So not only is this being compressed, many times this heel is being crushed up that way, and the foot is being bent in the center, like so. And so when it gets bent, that in of itself can make it shorter, like that. See? So let me undo some of this stuff here. I'll just clear it all. So when all this, and you can see this is wrapped around, all this gets wrapped around here and shoved into here, shoved into that coffin joint, pushes it forward like that, pushes the toe down. It bends the foot as well, but the capsule itself is being forced forward. Like, look where these horn tubules are here. See, this horse has no connection, maybe a little bit in the heel. No connection in the white line to the sole at all. The only difference between what happened to this horse and Megan's horse is that the white line is held together. But there was a time in her horse when that might have gone south as well. So, they don't even know. They don't even know how this here is keeping the toe wall from actually adhering to the sole. But I thought this was a really great example when I seen this of how these coffin bones, how and why they get rotated. And the difference, see, and does it happen to every horse that they did the wall just pops up and they're just standing on a sole and the wall is not connected? No, there's different things. Some of the white lines hold together. Some you have, like with Megan's horse, where you do have disconnection in the toe, right in here. So we're gonna go look at her horse now. Let me undo this.
Linda, can I just ask you a question on the first picture on the left? Where
Sure.
you do the two pink lines. You just said that what they don't realize is that this part of the wall is preventing the white line from adhering. Can you explain that?
Well, not just that, but they don't know that the whole back of the foot is pulled under and compressing this joint forward to be like this. Now he explains it. We're going to watch the video. And he explains it, how he explains what foundry is. He says, oh, then they rotate. And he explains what rotation, but he does not know how or why. It will get blamed on a multitude of things, like what they ate, or something like that. Now, as far as this area here, okay, this, you can tell this was a barefoot trimmed horse. Okay, his back feet, most of these horses, in fact, the same shoeing school has 2 videos, and both horses are foundered with rotation and disconnection and laminar wedges in the toe, in the front feet, but the back feet are fine. See, because the front feet, just their makeup, they are more prone to mechanical laminitis than the back feet. It's not always that way. And, I've people tell me, oh, well, if this was so, then every horse would have it. Well, no, they wouldn't. Notice that on this horse, this foot doesn't have it. That's a lame excuse to try and give for why this is not mechanical trimming induced mechanical laminitis. Well, then every horse would have it. Well, no, they wouldn't. Different feet respond different ways. They're trimming them different, the same but different. Different trimmers do different things. It's just, I'll tell you what it is. It is the luck of the draw as to whether that foot totally falls apart or not. It's maybe like this foot over here happened to maintain its frog more. So it didn't get the heels trimmed down to force frog pressure. Okay, because when you trim the heels down to force frog pressure, then this foot that wants to be up here, because that's the way it's made, that's where the cartilage and everything is supposed to be. When you trim the heel down and you force this down here, okay, then that foot, it wants to be back up here. And so it will pull back up, and then it makes these false heels like this, what you see. But as this is happening, see what happens is, now when they first trim these heels out, just a minute here. When they first trim these heels out, they start trying to get this hairline down here. See? Down here. But the bulbs, the foot, was not meant to be down there. Just like your nose wasn't meant to be shoved over on the side of your face. Okay, so the foot is constantly pulling back. So the foot will pull back up here. And as it does so, they start getting this real stretched bulb skin in here. And then the foot starts getting shorter. But something else that happens, and that is, and this is very important to remember, because, it's a chain reaction of events that take place here, not just one thing. Okay, and that is, okay, so this horse has heel, so they take the heel off. Let's say we take it off to here. That's going to lower this whole foot down to where then you're going to have a hairline that looks like this. Okay, that's going to lower and pull this bulb down here. Now, again, the foot is supposed to be up here. So it's going to want to pull up here no matter what, and it will. Now, some of them in the drier climate, the periopal band will hold the bulbs down here. Others just keep rising up and making false heel. Now,
Hi, Linda and group.
Hello. Okay, and so where am I at here? Just a second. Okay, so originally, let's say you had a hairline up here, and so the horn tubule here was like that. Okay? But when you lower the heel, the same horn tubule that was like this is now like this. It's now at a different angle, like this. And so they start pushing forward, like so, growing forward. And as they grow, they add more into the capsule. Like you look at this one right here. Now this is rasped off a lot. See, but this whole chunk here is incorrect. Ideally, this foot should be like this. More like this. I mean, this ain't perfect, but. And then your horn tubules are in alignment. Like so. Anyway, I'll use some more examples. But what I'm trying to say is, we talked about this before, is that a lot of times these horn tubules here will go way forward to the toe. See, this is not supposed to be here at the toe. This is supposed to be back here, like that. As long as it is up here, this dorsal wall will never be able to go back and connect with the sole where this is holding the whole toe forward. But anyway, so that's just one of those things. You know how how a lot of times what we'll see is we'll see horn tubules that start here, clear up here, like this. Like that, when they are supposed to be from here down to here, like that. See, then they would all be in alignment. Like so, going all the way back.
Do you address that just by the beveling, or do you need to scoop it, or is it not one rule for all feet? What would your approach be, say, for this specific foot in that area? How would
Well,
you address
this
it?
foot, you know, he put a shoe on it to hold it together. And even then I'm going, I don't know if that's going to hold together because there's nothing here in the wall. A lot of times all that happens is those shoes break off, you know, but this particular horse, the sole is not connected to the wall. And God forbid, me personally, you know, what he did, I'd have, what he did would hold the foot together. You know, I am not a farrier. Okay. So you might have to use composite shoes or something like that just to hold the sole and the wall together. But ultimately, the problem is back here in the back of the foot until you can get that frog released. And when you see how the horse was trimmed, I mean, it's ridiculous. But so ideally you're going to want to try and correct the back of the foot, and that's going to help straighten out the toe. And then gradually, if these horn tubules have grown way forward into here, okay, as you're correcting the back of the foot and releasing it, because nothing's going to happen till you get the pressure off that bone. See, with all of this anatomy shoved up into that bone and pushing it forward, there's, you know, you may be able to work with this a little, but what you really need to do, in my opinion, is start, you know, working with the back of the foot, working with this as it goes along to eventually get it to, you know, shorten up and start coming back. But this isn't going to go anywhere right here until you start releasing the back of this foot and getting all that anatomy that was shoved up into there kind of loosen up so that it's not pushing that joint forward anymore. See, like when you eventually get the back of that foot to loosen up and release off of pressing this joint forward, okay, it'll start to correct what's going on in your toe, because it'll take the pressure off the toe. Because the only reason that's like that is, again, look here, these are attached. This is your coffin joint. If I push this forward, you know, the foot, okay, well, and again, it's doing two different things. It's pushing the joint forward, but that rotates the bone down and back. Meanwhile, the capsule's being shoved forward in the toe right here. So again, this is rotated down and back, and the capsule is forward and up. And so this is where you find too, a lot of times the toe of the coffin bone's worn away, things like that, because it's being forced forward and it is pressing. See how that'd be pressing down on the sole there? And this is exactly what happens too. The toe is still forward. See, the toe is pulling forward, and this, well, the toe of the capsule wall, but the bone is pressing down. And in this hip foot, it just happened to the degree to where the Whiteley lost total white line connection, meaning that yellow line, the glue that adheres the sole to the wall. And so the horse is, you know, just standing on its sole. Now, it's almost better, though, than if it would have semi-stayed connected, because the horse is it just seems like he is in way less pain than if it was more semi-connected. And then what happens is boy, the heels just keep growing, but the toe, I mean, you've all seen it. I'm sure those feet, let me clear this out here. You've seen those foundered feet where, well, and it's a little bit here too, you can see it, but you see the growth rings here, how they're kind of even. Okay, but then you'll see a toe that just keeps wanting to grow out this way, and the same growth ring that is this way here will be like this here. See, and it's just the dorsal wall is not growing the same. But it's actually hasn't really happened as bad on this foot, and I think it is because the whole sole is pretty much disconnected. Which is something to think about. So we're going to go look at that video. So hold on here. Let's see. Okay, so I have that in my Camtasia. Okay. Let's see, new share. Okay, so I enlarged this video. Can you see it there? The video?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just okay, so here he's showing the horse is foundered. Let's see. Just a second here. And showing the horse is foundered. Just a minute, I'm gonna get rid of the his commentary. We don't really need to hear it. So there's the foot right there. And they're going to make what's called a Z-bar shoe. Okay, so there's the foot. Now, this foot here, as I said, it's the white line's totally disconnected, but it isn't in this foot here. They didn't do the same kind of shoe on this foot over here as they did on this foot. At least I don't think they did. So I'm just going to forward it here. So he's just showing how the bone is in the foot, supposed to be in the foot, and explaining how when it gets foundered, let's see. Now he's got to take his thumb and push right in here. Let's do that again. Now, just imagine that's all that anatomy pushing into that bone there. And then just the response of the hoof capsule and everything else is pushing the toe back while pushing the joint forward. But the capsule itself, right here in the toe, is being pushed forward and up. This is being pushed down and back. Just like that. That's exactly what goes on. There's some degree of that in all of these horses. There is some degree of that. That is why you see so many toes with a divot in them, because the horse naturally does not have that divot right in the toe. But any kind of binding that pushes the back of that foot up is going to move all that anatomy and shove it into the coffin joint. And what else is there? Who can tell me what other bone is right here?
P2.
Well, that, yeah, like this P2, P3, but there's another bone here. Do you remember what it is?
Navicular.
Amen. Yeah. navicular. So what do you think's causing navicular? You know, when all that anatomy back here, the bulbs, the cartilage, the digital cushion, the frog, okay, is all wrapped around and shoved up in there, right into that area, into the navicular bone. And then doing this with doing any kind of forced movement like this, that is going to cause pain. That is going to cause inflammation, pain in the navicular area. So let's see. Okay, so and like you can see, this foot has more connection than this one. Come on, move your shaps. Oh, well, you need fringe on your shafts, but okay. I'm so critical. Okay, we could go back here. See, I examined the other foot. You know, let's just back up a little. Let's see. See, I don't know if you can see it, but see, I can see. It doesn't matter if it's blurry anymore. If it's the only thing that keeps me from seeing anymore is hair. All right, but I can see where these cartilages are way pulled down, and the frog has not been trimmed correctly for a long time, and so the frog is sucked way between and under the foot. See, you'll find it's either going to be swollen, look full in here, or it's going to look hollow. One of the two. You know, it just depends on how the foot is going to react to all this anatomy being shoved into places where it's not supposed to be. So, okay, so now you're going to see how the sole is not connected. Just a minute here. See how the sole is not connected at all to the wall. So that horse is standing on this sole here. And hey, he's even got kind of a nice sole ridge there. You know, but the wall itself is not connected, like at all. But look at how nasty that foot looks. You know, these bulbs are totally like just curled in. He's got false heels, false bars. It's a mess. Maybe it wasn't a barefoot horse, because I did notice he had other nail holes, but it doesn't matter. They're all trimming the same way. You see how that sole is just, there's a, like, you know, we see horses that have white line separation. We've all had that, but this is total disconnection between the sole here all the way around and the wall. There is no white line. Maybe a tiny bit in the heels, but really not even that. It just really gives me a lot to think about. So he's going to kind of trim it up here. Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing there, you know, but what's interesting is he has a pretty darn good sole. And it doesn't show this horse walking in there. I sure would have liked to seen how he walked. But you know what? He's standing there, and he's not standing with his feet way far forward or anything like that. And he picks up this foot, the other foot. There is some white line connection there, but he's got the same basic things going on. And he holds his horse's foot up, and the horse is not leaning way back or anything. So whatever conformation thing happened due to the distortion in these feet, due to the way they were trimmed, they're still kind of holding together pretty good, which is amazing. Okay. But he does walk not that great when he walks him out. So, but not that bad either, considering. So you see how he just has nothing? Look at that. No white line connection whatsoever. except, well, even back then, that wouldn't be the real heel, so whatever. Let's see. See what he does here. Now, this frog, and this is something you need to look for when you're evaluating these feet. Now, do you see how this frog is bent right here? Can you see that? You need to start looking, because when the anatomy of the back of the foot is all shoved in and forward into here, it's got to go somewhere. A lot of it will be curled around into here, into this way. But then the more the back of that foot is pulled down, the more that cartilage is bent. It's going to bend the foot in the center, and right here at this part of the frog, it's going to be bent up in. And I see that a lot. See, right here. I'm trying to get it. Now, maybe you can see it there, how it's bent up right here. Okay, this is that false concavity. See, so this is bent down that way, and this is bent down this way. This foot is bent right here. So this is all false foot down back here. I mean, I don't even think he cleaned up that bar. Let's see. No, he's not. See, he's not even going to clean up that bar. He's just going to rasp it and put a shoe on it with the pad. Hey, maybe have any of you guys ever watched those? What do they call them? Music reaction videos. They're pretty funny. Anyway, so music reaction. Maybe I ought to start doing trim reaction videos. You know, oh my God, look what he's doing there. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, it doesn't even clean up the bars. You know, now look, probably a wonderful guy, nice guy, a lot of people are fine people. But what they are taught, and this is in a horseshoeing school, okay? What they are taught is pretty much, first of all, they're responsible for this. Whoever trimmed this horse is responsible for what happened here, you know? And so, you know, a lot of times the same person trimming the horse that caused the situation that is them being paid, and they're not doing it on purpose. It's not like it's a, well, it's not like they're an auto mechanic, you know. Auto mechanics, they'll lie to you, screw up your car, do all kinds of stuff. I don't trust them any more than I do doctors. But anyway, you have to take all this stuff into your own hands these days. So obviously not purposely screwing the horse up, but because of the teachings for the last 250 years, such a tradition passed down. You got a horseshoe in school. I mean, my God, dude, why can't you trim the bars, for crying out loud? You know, I mean, geez. Anyway. Okay, so we're just gonna rasp it off a bit and then throw some iron, which they're very talented. Makes a beautiful shoe from scratch here. Throw some iron and nails on it to hold it together, and put in some pour-in silicone pad. Oh, and frog support. Can't forget that. Can't forget that frog support. See, they think every frog should be on the ground, you know, which is what caused this to begin with, I'm sure. Okay, so Okay, so yeah, burn the foot. That always looks good. I mean, he does beautiful workmanship. I admire their skill. Okay, I just don't admire the traditional error passed down that caused the horse to be this way to begin with. And like I said, how's that that wall? How that's gonna hold a shoe? I don't know, but maybe with that pour-in pad, it's gonna be better. All right, so he does a beautiful job, but look at that wall. There's nothing there. There's really nothing there. That wall just break right out. Yeah, horses. Yeah, that'd just break right out. Right there. Let's get to the end. Does a nice job. Beautiful. Look at them clinches. Something to be admired. For sure. Pretty fancy nails. Okay, so here's a horse walking. Look at how stiff he is in front. That's, what I call that? Very possible dead horse walking, but maybe, who knows, maybe his foot will hold together and have a chance. But as long as they do not know what causes this, most of these horses, they're never going to fix. They're just prolonging the inevitable. And, anybody that's dealt with a severely rotated, foundered horse knows how that is. You can deal with them for years, trying to help them, getting them every kind of shoeing and everything like that. And anyway, yeah. So that's interesting. So a lot of talent there at that school, doing, great job there. But they don't know why that horse is foundered to begin with. And what we're hearing and seeing, this is the reason. They trimmed the heels out of that horse. He made false heels. Eventually, everything shoved up into that coffin joint. And then it just became bad. He became disconnected from the soul. So, I mean, you can just see this chunk of hoof wall here. There's nothing there connecting that. And you look at the growth rings, how they go down like that. See? Okay, so anyway, we're gonna go look at Megan's horse.
Do you see the same thing like that off of my pictures?
Yep.
Like you?
Yeah, but your feet are holding together. This foot did not hold together. And you're even getting a clean white line around a lot of your foot. So, there's a lot of hope for you. It's just that it's all bound up and messed up in the back, and stuff. So if, get it to a point where more capsule will grow in and the foot will release, then he'll be okay. And you won't have all those abscesses and stuff like that. See, that this horse isn't full of abscesses is probably a miracle. Because you can't have all this. Let me see. Let's go here. Hold on. Try and get. You just can't have all this bar and everything laying all over the sole like what they have here, and the heels so bound up and laying over the foot that you're not going to have abscesses. I mean, this is all, this is what causes abscesses, because the sole is not open to grow right in there. So, okay, so.
But Linda, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
If this hoof in the picture now, if the farrier there, if he had cleaned up the bars and done a better job in just trimming the hoof in the beginning,
Mhm.
do you think that it's wrong to put a shoe on this
No,
hoof?
not at all.
No.
No, not against shoes, not in any way, shape, or form. Iron, plastic, rubber, wood, I don't care.
No.
You know?
So basically, if he had done a better job in the trimming department, then the shoe that the horse got there was something good, but
Yeah.
the hoof had a better chance to correct itself with
Yeah.
support. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, I could be wrong here too. Maybe you wouldn't want to take a whole lot off the bottom of this foot right at this point, you know, because whatever there is kind of holding him together, you know. But I think if you cleaned up the foot, you also use some composite glue. See, I would want to hold that foot together with more than nails. Now, but I think you could clean up the bottom of that foot really well, and then also add something like, okay, what he used, which was Vet Tech. It's got that iron, it's got that copper sulfate in it so that they don't get thrush and stuff. But you know, I think if he knew,
Copper Tox?
no, not copper
Okay.
tox. This is copper sulfate. It's blue. Yeah, I warn people against copper tox, man. That's the messiest junk. Okay, so he could have cleaned up this foot more, obviously, and then held it together with his shoe, and I'm pretty sure the horse would have been all right. But now he's got bar smeared all over it. I mean, you know, I don't see any hope for this foot ever being restored. But I think it could be, you know. And if you had that talent to be able to build shoes like that, and you understood the true anatomy and how that horse's foot got that way to begin with, you know, you could do some wonderful things. I mean, because look at us, how we struggle trying to fix a foot like this, you know, with glue on and casts and, you know, DIM and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think having a shoe is fine, and but I do think that foot should have been cleaned up more. But then again, you know, these people too, they have had in that school experience with lots of founder horses, and they're wanting that horse to walk out of there, you know, and they know that when you get to this stage, you're in a precarious situation. And so a professional, I just, you know, I mean, you're really in a difficult situation trying to help these horses a lot of times when they're like to this extent. But
So true.
yeah,
Do you think this horse could have benefit from boots and soaking to bring moisture so the hoof could expand, or is that dangerous when the hoof is in this condition to become more soft?
yeah, I don't know, you know.
Okay, Linda, may I say something really quick?
Sure.
If this was my horse, what I would do is trim up the frog and trim the bars and leave everything else alone for maybe 2 weeks, and then get everything else trimmed where they need to be. Leave alone for another few weeks, and then when it comes to the real whole trim, then a month later do the whole trim and things would be better.
Well, it might, but here again, you know, this foot really did need more than that. It needed the shoe he put on it. I'll say that right now. When you have disconnection like that, you're just in a really bad place, you know. So everything he did was good. The only thing that I question is not trimming up the bottom of this foot more, you know. But like I say, those guys, they got a lot of experience, and you know, they want the horse to be able to walk out. And it could be a situation where if you did kind of go to work on the bottom of this foot, maybe the horse wouldn't walk out of there as well, even with shoe on, you know. But you know, I don't know. See, just because I'm doing this, and because, you know, I've figured out some of this stuff about how these feet get bound, I'm not an expert farrier, you know, and I think someday we will know more about how to deal with the foot like this to restore it. Now, I know that what he's doing will not restore this foot. Okay? It's just not going to happen because they don't understand what's going on with the foot. But I believe someday that more people will know, and more things will be done. People are going to know how to fix feet like this, like that. You know, what's more, not as many feet are ever going to get like this. See, ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure, right? So, you know, we're just, you know, theoretically discussing. When, you know, you do have to be careful with feet like this. Like I would sure not want to trim the heels down any more than that, you know, because the more you trim these heels down, the worse it's going to get. Worse and worse and worse, to where, well, what I call them is dead horse walking. You know that saying, dead man walking? That's what they call somebody that's getting headed for dire consequences, or somebody that's on death row. And they're walking him down the Green Mile there. You know, a lot of these horses, because of the lack, not only the lack of knowledge, the incorrect knowledge in the hoof care industry, you see what way their feet are going, who's trimming them, you know what they believe and what they practice, and you know the response the foot is going to eventually have to that, and what's going on with the horse. And you just know, because history attests to the fact that we have been maiming the feet, laming and killing these horses all over the place for 2.5 centuries now. And now with the barefoot movement, worse, because now it's not the expert unknowingly, unmeaningly, unintentionally practicing something on your horse's foot that's going to eventually, going to disrupt the function one way or another. The horse will always have some form of inflammation going on. It can and generally does lead to a lot of negative consequences and distortions in the feet. You know, laminitis at an all-time high. Navicular, all-time high. Canker, all-time high. All kinds of hoof-related diseases at an all-time high because of the way they trim. And the barefoot movement just solidified all the errors of the vet schools. See, it didn't, you know, to come in and say, oh, horses have no heels. Yeah, really? You know, now we have pictures of wild horses and they got plenty. And pictures of, you know, in ancient Greece and the horses there, the war horses and stuff like that, had whole different foot than what they keep trying to put on these horses. And the most worst doctrine is frog pressure. Forcing frog pressure, you know, that trimming down the heels, you know, frog thickness is arbitrary, like hair length. Okay. And to use that as a means of how high your heel should be is the most singular, devastating thing that's ever happened to the horse. It is worse than the killer industry. It is worse than when horses had to go to war. You know, it is just this subtle, insidious mental disease. It is a human mental disease, because it is like they're programmed with the virus that makes them think a certain way in their heads, and they're applying this to the foot of the horse, and it's literally killing these horses. You know, if it doesn't kill them, long-term torture, long-term pain, long-term suffering. So anyway, okay. All right, so we're going to go look at Megan's horse here. If I can find my way out of this. Let's see. Let's go there.
Linda, am I correct or not? Should the front hooves be more of an oval shape and the hind hooves a spade shape rather than a circle and oval?
Yeah. Yeah, they
I
are
thought
more
so.
they are more oval. There are no hooves around, which is interesting because we're going to look at Megan's horse and see the change in the shape of the foot. See, I just think that what you have done, that there's a lot of super good changes in that foot. Let's see here. Okay, so now I've got to go find Facebook. Let's see. Got all this stuff in the way. Let's see. Okay. Well, I'm going to put this on. This is her foot, her horse's foot. Now, you see, they would say that's a club foot because club feet tend to do this in the toe. But a club foot, most club feet are just bound feet. What is the purple stuff here?
So that's just a bit of antibacterial spray because
Okay.
of the crack, just to keep it clean.
Okay, and do you have kind of a hole right there?
No, there's nothing at the top. That's just because I sprayed from onto the sole. It's kind of, and I was holding the foot up. It's dripped. It's kind of made its way around and up the dorsal wall. There's just a
Okay.
small cleft at the bottom, which you can't really see in this picture.
Okay, so now, let me enlarge this. So now, when we look at this foot, now you're kind of at a front angle, but we can still tell a lot at the bulb here. Okay, let me annotate here. Wait a minute. Got too much stuff.
Linda, I actually am going to just get my mobile phone and I'll send you another image. I went back to the yard later.
Okay.
And I think I've got a slightly better image if you'll give me a minute.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
I'll explain some stuff while we're sitting here. So in a coronary band here, the coronary band from here all the way back to wherever it ends back here should be the same width. Except for right here, you're going to have a little bit of that, which is just skin kind of tying stuff together. Okay. Now, this foot is bound, so this cartilage is too far forward here, but I'm just explaining what the coronary band should be like, clear back into the bulbs. The bulbs are really, in reality, right here, this part, no wider than this part. See, and you can see your periopal band. See, what we're looking at is the periopal band behind there. Okay, but what do you see here? Let's look here. Follow the hairline there. Now let's follow the periopal line here. See this here? How this is wider? Look and see this bulb here. This is always a sign of foot binding, because this cartilage is pulled down, and so this periopal here is stretched, and it is supposed to be. See if it was correct, it'd probably be out at least to here. At least. Be about like that. Okay, so you see here, your wall is growing down in here. Okay, so this right here, we got to make sure you, in which I guess you are leaving this part of the foot weighted right here, so that the growth will be encouraged to remain in the capsule instead of growing down and out. As it grows, it will allow the bulb to lift and it will add hoof wall into the capsule back here. And as it does so, this will uncurl and more will start growing here like this. Kind of like that. It will add the buttress in eventually back here to where then your hoof wall is like that and your bulb's like this and your cartilage is more like this. So that's how much you need to grow in back here. Okay, so you said you got another picture?
Yeah, I've sent them to you via Messenger, and it's interesting because I know you gave me quite a lot of time in the last sort of month or so when we had a hoof chat, and it was about this foot. And I'm very grateful for the mistake I made, because the only way you learn is when you look at something and go, oh, that was why I shouldn't have done that. So I know that previous hoof chat, we were talking about the different heel heights that I was perceiving. So I ended up taking the lateral hoof down a little bit, thinking that, and the pictures I've sent you now is to just show you, I think I've gone backwards. I think that mistake that I made has forced this foot back into a more ski slope. So I sent you a picture that has a 2022 in red on it, and then the same foot in 2024, which I took in about, I think it was probably February, March, and then like March, April, I took the heel down a little bit, and I think that has pushed it back because I think we were actually further along, but it'll be interesting to see what you see. I think we've still made progress, but it definitely took us a step back.
So the foot I was just looking at, of course, is that the inside view? Or no, it's the same foot. Yeah. Okay, so
the pictures I sent you are all the same foot. This is the lateral view.
Okay, just a second here and I'll share.
I have sent you the medial view as well, but I've marked it as medial because, and I know Ageliki made the comment last time when we were looking at it, it looks like a different foot because the medial side is, the capsule is about 20% smaller than the lateral side.
Well, from the foot I was just working on, when was that picture taken?
That picture was taken today.
The one I was just working on?
Correct.
And when was this one taken?
About 4 months ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So see, somewhere along the line, you went backwards.
Yeah, I took down the heel.
Yeah, okay.
And a lady called Linda Harris told me not to do that. And I thought, but I'm sure I should do it. And I tried it and it's backfired. And now I know I should never do
that. Oh, darn.
But I learned the lesson the hard way. So unfortunately, my horse is paying with my school fees.
I know our horses always pay the price. You know, well, let's do a comparison here. That's pretty interesting. So either way, you could be coming or going. Like your foot could have been like the one I was working on, like I was all happy, you know. It's like, oh, look at how it's improved. Let's see. Let me take a image of that. We're going to put these together. Let's see. Okay. Oh, this stupid thing opened in Paint. Just a minute. I will open this and put these together.
Yeah, and then that picture above marked 2022 is right at the beginning of the tack journey. So I think we were doing really well up until 2024. And then I've made this mistake and we've gone back about, I think
Yeah.
I took about 0.5 centimeter of heel and I took myself back about a year in progress.
Oh, well, now explain again why you lowered the heel.
So because this is that wonky foot where it just
Uh-huh.
the lateral heel is flared out, and then
Okay.
the medial heel is very upright but appears more run forward. So I
Okay.
kept looking at that foot thinking, and the whole foot it faces outward, it rotates out like a duck-footed. And so I thought, just the capsule. So I thought, well,
Uh-huh.
it makes sense to me that if the lateral heel is higher, it's going to push weight onto the medial toe and push the foot out. And visually it looked like that lateral heel was higher. And you said to me, it's not higher. Look at your hairline. Your hairline is lower.
Oh,
So
okay.
the
I
heel
remember
looks
now.
higher. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think by the time you and I chatted, I had already taken the heel down. I don't think I did it after the conversation, but I remember feeling when you were talking, I was thinking, oh gosh, well, I've already done it. So either this is going to improve things or it's going to make it worse.
Oh.
And with hindsight, I can say I made it worse.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I totally can relate because I've done the same and stuff. You know, everything. Sometimes the stuff on his feet is so backwards from the way you think it would be. You know. So here I'm gonna take a picture of this. A second here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because from the front view, if I take a picture of the hoof from the front, it looks better. But everywhere else it doesn't. So I
Yeah.
sort of fixed one problem by making the front now look better, but I've created all these other problems.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Well, just a second here. Take a picture. Okay, new share so that we can, oh, wait a minute. I don't like what I did there. Hold on. What is going on? Oh, there we go. No. Okay, let's see here. New share. Okay. So now, you know what I was just, now see, here's, what is that? Wait a minute. Got to get that. Just a second here. Let me put it back on here real quick. Try and take a photo again. Oh, God. What I'm doing here, as I'm doing this, is I am trying to get a photo of both of these together so we can look at them side by side. Okay, there. New share. Okay. All right. So remember how I was just explaining about the coronary band here? Everything I was just explaining is exactly what happened when she trimmed the heel out. It's very interesting because let's see here. Where's the annotate? Okay. Okay, because let me get this here. Okay, so remember I was telling you that on a regular foot, the coronary band would be like this, the same width all the way back, except for just some skin right here. And then I showed how that isn't what's going on here. Instead, what you got is this number. We'll follow the hairline back to here. Then we're going to follow the periopal band, which starts getting wider here and comes down like that. A big wide bulb. Okay. And so I had told you that. Well, then she sent us this picture here. And I want to show you how this is exactly what I said your periopal band is supposed to be like. And see, this is where your coronary band is, and this is where your coronary band groove is. See there? I can predict the future and the past.
Yeah, I'm devastated looking at the pictures. And it's interesting because when I did it, I didn't take a huge amount, but it was enough. And and I know you've said this before, within a week or two of having done it, I thought to myself, wow, it's interesting. Her heels have really just grown back. But now I'm like, no, like they didn't grow back. The bulbs just pulled up and stretched the skin.
Wow, this is fantastic.
Very, very
thank you.
devastating.
Well, thank your horse and stuff, because we just have seen this marvel of hoof distortion
Live in action.
Yeah, in action. And here's the most amazing thing. You folks that are seeing this stuff and understanding this stuff, you're the first people in the world to ever know this was going on with these horses' feet. See, the whole hoof care in people until this, nobody ever understood this before. See, and see, everybody is a part of this, in that you have all taken pictures of your horse's feet. Even people that aren't intact, they're taking pictures of their horse's feet and posting them on the internet. And I've been poring over my own photos, which I probably have close to 100,000 photos of one horse's feet over the last 18 years. Because when I would take pictures of Valor's feet, sometimes I'd take them before I washed them, then I'd wash them and I'd take a whole set, and then I'd take them while I was trimming, and then I would take all the pictures afterwards. So before, during, after, anywhere, never less than 80 to 100 pictures per trim. And then a lot of times going out in between trims and taking pictures too. And so for 18 years, following this horse's feet, trying to figure out what is going on. Now, can you understand why, if people never took pictures of their horse's feet, and the farrier comes in, he trims the horse, shoes the horse, this stuff happens gradually. Now, it can happen pretty fast like this if you trim down heels a lot, like the example we have that I've shown you before, which I'll show you here again in a minute. In fact, let's look at that now. Let me undo this here. Hold on. This is just fascinating. So let me finish that thought. So the farrier comes in, he trims the horse. Each time that foot distorts a little more and a little more, the back of this foot just gets pulled in a little more and a little more. This gets a little wider, bulbs get a little wider, capsule gets smaller. All right. They never saw it. They never took pictures. They never saw it happening. And so uh, uh, it's through all of the photos. And not just the photos, but the responses of the horse.
Mm.
Some, all these different women trying to help their horses, even the ones that don't know tact, and they're on these forums, and man, their horses are lame, and they got EMS, and they got navicular, and they got canker, and they got laminitis, and they got this and that. Just the fact that now you got all these people obsessed with and documenting what's going on. See, if you know what to look for. See, now they would, well, I don't know what I was going to say there, but just all of this. Well, it's adding up into two things. One, the worst, most deceptive thing it's ever been, while at the same time allowing us this privilege of seeing the truth about the foot of the horse that no one has ever seen before. I mean, this is like going and digging up Troy when you thought it was just a myth. It's what you call one of those truths that people discover and see, that nobody's ever seen before. And it's amazing, and it's joyful, and it's heartbreaking at the same time, because once you understand how these hoof capsules get smaller and smaller, just like Chinese foot binding, and how they cram all that anatomy that should be out like this. I mean, you can clearly see the difference in the shape of the back of this foot from here to here.
And if you look at the bottom of the foot, Linda, just look how much surface space there is on the left foot.
Yeah.
Versus how much smaller the surface space is on the right foot. And then also just in the sort of, right, sort of just in front of the heels, you can actually see where the hoof wall has spindled in, because you can see it rounds there at the top. So you actually go higher up the wall. Sort of between the bottom of that, between that red line and the bottom of the dorsal wall. So midway down the hoof, but forward, where that light is shining off. Yes, there, sort of a little bit forward there.
Right here, yeah.
Versus the other foot, you can actually see how it's pulled the foot in.
Yeah,
and made
you
the
sure
foot
can.
actual smaller.
And look at the wall. Look how nice and straight the wall is here.
Mm.
And look how it's dished here. See?
The two things for me, it's one is, this is why the photographs are so important, because you think in your head, oh, I'm sure, it hasn't changed that much. And then you look at photos and it's evidence.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. And then the other thing is just not listening, as when you are following the tact journey and beginning to understand, is to not be easily influenced by a more old-fashioned approach. Because part of the reason I did this was because someone advised me, oh no, you always bevel the flared side. So I was like, okay, cool. So someone else is also saying that what I thought, I should do is good. And so I've done it, and I've caused problems.
So did somebody tell you to lower the heel?
No, someone told me, I told myself to lower the heel. And then someone I know said to me, you always, well, she actually wasn't speaking to me. I overheard her speaking to someone else about, you always bevel or lower the side that is flaring. So
really?
in my mind, I thought, okay, well, it's her lateral side that flares outward. And it is visually what looks longer.
Yeah.
But that's because the hairline is lower.
Yeah.
I know that now.
Yeah, because you see how this has pulled all this down right here. I mean, see this little lump here? That is a natural lump in the cartilage, and that we're trying to get back. There's a lump, there's a little thing here. Okay, and then there's this little lump here that totally disappears when all that gets pulled down. See?
So now I have my work ahead of me to try and
you get it straightened out.
Damage, yeah.
You get it straightened out. I'm, you know, I hate the fact that you have, your horse and you have to, because we suffer with them. We may not feel physical pain, but we feel emotional pain, and stuff, and
Absolutely.
discouragement. And but here's the thing, this picture's priceless. Your experience, what you did here, it's priceless. We needed
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's a very, you can't, I mean, it's such an like ingrained lesson now that I'll never go back. I'll never repeat it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and see, just the fact that it proved the theory.
Mhm.
See, and which, it borders on theory because we just need more proof. What is that? A hypothesis? I don't know all the words. But this is great. I'm so grateful to have these pictures and to, have this experience that you went through. Okay, so I'm going to show you some pictures that go with this. Now see, I'm going to show you the reverse, where my horse's foot was like this, okay, and it went like this within 3 days. But in this case, I had the capsule. Okay, I had the capsule, but my foot was still bound under. So I'm going to show you that picture. So hold on here. Yeah, this is just really wonderful. Let me see. Let me undo that. Make sure I save that. Okay. Pictures, where are you? Okay, so we're going to look at two examples, one on my horse and one on that other horse. Does anybody remember who that was? If you're here, I'm sorry if I don't ever remember sometimes who did what, when, where, but
Are you talking about that lady with the gray and the white hooves? Where you
yes,
show the progression. Oh gosh, I've got it. I'll
yes.
click on the chat. I've got her name somewhere. I'll have a look for you.
Okay, I'd like to see how she's doing. A lot of times what happens is people just start to do intact and they go off on their own and they're doing it and they wind up getting good examples or good results, and then they'll pop up, every once a year or something like that, even a couple years, and say, well, I've been doing this. This has been going great. And so that's always great to know. Okay, so here we're going to see an example. Let's see. Let me make this bigger. New share. I marked it. Can you see that? Okay. This was actually on a post, so I may have to. Let's see.
We can see it. I think it's fine, Linda.
Okay. So like here, just a minute. Here was initially, I want to show you all this one though, because you look at these two horses were just the same. This was adopted wild horse too. Look at these short little pastern bones they got. So this foot was just like that foot. And somehow, some way, she got the idea that we did this. And when I saw it, I was mortified and so worried about the horse that was going to affect its tendons. And so I asked her to take pictures. And so over the next 2, 3, 4 days, she took pictures. And it was amazing what we saw, because look how the bulb is flat down, pulled down to the ground. Now that bulb on that horse wants to be up here. That's where it's supposed to be. That's his foot. when you do this, you're forcing that'd be like if you had shoes with pretty thick soles and then heel that was a little higher, and then you just come and totally took the heel off and cleared down to the where your foot was, and then you had to walk around like that. So your foot would still want to be up. Now you could take your shoe off. Okay, that sole. Horse can't do that. He's trapped in that foot now. And so I want you to see just a minute. This, look at the horn tubules here. Okay, look at the horn tubules here. Okay, now they would have been the same as, that's what these really were right here. But now look at them. Now what are they doing? See the example? So they are not in weight-bearing unity with the foot. Internally, the foot wants to be like that. Well, and it wants this to be up here. That's where the foot wants to be. But now it's being held down by having taken the heel off to like there. At just an inch. And like Megan, you said you just took it off a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
See, it don't take much. This is why it is so important that eventually the world and hoof care people and know the true anatomy of the back of this foot. Because it's cartilage and fat, the back 2/3 of it back here, the only thing that helps it maintain its true shape and form is a correctly fitted and grown hoof capsule. And what was I going to say? It's the configuration. The configuration of the back of this foot, the way the frog, the cartilages, the heel buttresses, everything is supposed to be a specific way. It's not arbitrary. It's not one way for me and one way for you. And, or, well, it's just one way for this foot, but this foot wants to be this way. Nay, 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 nay. Not so. This foot here wants to be just like that foot, wants to have the correct support in the back of the foot. The only difference in these feet, for the most part, is the size. They all have specific cartilages back here. No horse is like, let me do this. No horse's cartilages go like this. None. Okay, you see that? That's hoof distortion. That's foot binding. That's incorrect heel trimming. All of that. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so I'll do this.
Linda,
So,
if you do get a moment, I'd love you to share the photo of Ellie's foot before I took the heel down, just so,
yeah,
because
okay.
it gives you an idea of like how wrong your eyes can be, how deceiving it can look.
Okay.
And it also just, might help people understand why I, decided to do it. It wasn't just this kind of crazy idea.
Okay.
When you're ready, I just thought of
okay, no, that's good, but which picture is it exactly that you want me to show that on?
Let me just double check. I think I've sent it to you. I'll just forward it to you. Oh, it's on Messenger. I'll just forward it so that it's the last message you get from me.
Okay. Okay, so now here we go. So here is the foot the day it was done. Now where's my annotate here? Okay, look at here. The bulb is down here at the ground. Cartilage is way down. And the hairline way down like that. Okay, now this is like a day or two later. It was a 4-day, I think it was a 4-day expanse of time. Okay. Well, so much so that look, this is the same mark as you got here. And so already look at the difference in the shape of the bulb. Look at how the hairline is now up off the ground. He made heel by pulling, see this piece of wall right here? He pulled that around behind and underneath his foot and made himself heel right here. See? And then this is like a day or so later, not very much. Even more so has the shape of the capsule changed. First of all, I think the toe moved back. Okay, and look, it almost went bullnose here. And now, look at this, how rounded it is. And then there's your heel. How about that? See, flat, amazing. And, you know, of course, then it did this weird thing here too, raising that. You know, why is that? Because this, I think well, that makes sense, doesn't it? That if all of this pulled back and up like that, it's going to pull that dorsal wall back too, right? And then it even bullnosed it here. And I want to show you a bullnose flare is like similar to a flare that's at the bottom of the toe where the wall pulls out away from the lamina and stretches the lamina. Only in a bullnose, it just does it in the center of the foot right here. It just bulges it like here'd be your foot. Okay, and it just bulges the wall out in the center like that. So you have lamina separation, but it's in the center right here due to the pressure. Let's see. Let me undo this stuff here. Clear all drawings. Okay. Okay, so let's see. All right, so I'm gonna just show you my horse's foot here real quick. Oh, well, I'm gonna I want to show them the picture you wanted me to look at, Megan.
Yeah, thanks. I've just forwarded it to you via Messenger.
Oh yeah. Okay. This opens the door for me to show you something else. Okay. And tell you about a sad state of affairs. Okay, so here we go. New share. Okay. So you see this, you see the lateral heel looks tired, doesn't it?
We haven't got the picture, Linda.
Oh, sorry. Wow, this is such a great example. Wow. Oh man. Who knows?
Man.
Now you really see it, huh?
Yep.
You know, so this is not the same kind of wall as what you got here. Okay, so this is a side wall that got pulled around here. And this heel is actually trimmed out more. It only looks higher because of the way that it has twisted the bulb in the foot. Like look at the hairline here, how this hairline's up here, but this one's pulled down. You know, I wish I could take, see, what I'd like to have, I'd just like to have something I could put in my hands to where, let's say if I held this part steady, but then I took and I twisted this part down, you know, like it's hard for me to explain. I'll have to figure out a way to explain how this happens. So in farriery, what they do, okay, I gotta show you this. Hold on. So, okay, so what she thought was this heel was higher because it looks that way when in reality it's lower. I know it looks higher, but in reality it's lower. And so, and more trimmed out, because see where the bulb is here? You know, it's pulled down and forward. That's what makes it look higher. If you could take all this and pull it back up, it'd be the same length as this heel here. Let's see, let me do an annotate on that right there. Okay, so here's your bulb here, or your hairline is there, but this one is way down here. See there, it is not the same. And it's wider. It's wider from here to here too than this one here. So let's see, let me undo.
It's amazing what nonsense you can convince yourself about. You know, I kept looking. I mean, I looked and thought about these pictures for days before I trimmed it. And eventually I said to myself, well, if I trim it down about 0.5 centimeter, maybe it'll straighten the whole foot up and
Yeah.
the bulbs will come into balance because I'm going to take away material. I mean, it's so crazy thinking about it now. The logic doesn't make any sense, but you're like, well, I want the foot to look more symmetrical and to, you know, yeah. And now looking at it, I'm just like, if anything, I needed to leave that height to keep pushing that bulb up and
Up,
back
yeah.
and out of the foot because it's so shoved in. But
Yeah.
it's hindsight.
Here, I'll show you a picture. Just a second here. I'll show you a set of pictures. Just a second here. See, this is why. Okay, does anybody remember how on the group somebody posted an article about a study they did on asymmetrical hooves and why they were asymmetrical, meaning wider on one side than the other? Because that's what you had on that foot too, right? It's wider on one side, or do you?
Yeah, the lateral side had
Wider.
a wider sole
Yep.
surface, correct, yeah.
Okay, so they did a study, you know, that was even published on PubMed, about why these horses are of asymmetrical feet. And they had 30 horses they looked at, and they figured in, genetics and I don't remember everything but how the horse was trimmed, you know, to try and figure out why these horses were wider on one side than the other. And well, we now know it's because you naturally trim that lateral heel out more than the other. And as you do so, it starts to pull the bulb down, which then is pulling the whole hoof capsule down, so it makes it look longer, when in reality it's just a distortion. And so then every time you see it, it looks higher. And so you trim it off again, and you keep trimming it off and trimming it off until it's just pulled that whole side down. And of course, as that side is going down, it's pushing forward and it's creating a bulge in the side that you think is a flare. So it's making the side wider, and it'll push those horn tubules clear to the toe. A lot of times you'll have a crack, like a quarter crack or something in the toe, which what I got on one of my feet. So just a minute, I'm gonna show you this here. CDOG. Okay, we're gonna look at this deal here. Wait a minute. New share. Now this is how they actually make a thing called a T-square that you can put on the back of a horse's foot to determine whether your heels are level. But the reason it doesn't work is because of just what we're discussing here. Right here. Okay, you see this? How he's holding up this rasp here to the center. Now you see how that's like your horse's foot. This, in this case, okay, this heel is trimmed out more and it's pulled that whole bulb down and forward. And so it makes it look higher. See? So we just go ahead and look at this foot. So what he does in this video is he trims this heel out more. Again, this is a video. Okay, see there how now as it's pulling this side down, well, it's tweaking the whole side of that foot. You see how this creates a medial lateral imbalance? See, even looking at it, sometimes it gets. Okay, this is ultimately what is created by that right here. Now see how the bulbs are pulled down this way? All that anatomy being shoved up into here. That's another similar situation going on with this foot. So let's go back here.
It looks exactly the same, Linda. I remember saying to you, the sole plane is skew. Do you remember me saying that to you? Like, I couldn't get my head around why is the sole plane skew? I can't file this foot to be in line with the sole plane, but now I understand like that the whole bulb has distorted everything on the side of that foot.
I wish I had like, I'm gonna have to make me like a rubber capsule or something to where I can just like start like pushing one bulb down, because it's going to affect the whole, you know, the whole sole, the capsule, everything. And so,
well, bless
and the
you,
foot.
but you did spend a whole day sending me voice notes and pictures and diagrams trying to explain it, and I just didn't get it into my head. But once you see this, you can't unsee it. You know, once you see it, you're like, okay, now I've got it. I can see exactly what happened.
Yeah, well, see, I did that to Valor because there's this guy that advocates holding up, like you hold the horse up by the cannon bone and sight down, or you hold him up, the back leg up a certain way and just let the foot fall. And then you'll see that the one side looks way higher. And so you just trim that down. And so I had been dealing with this issue and a flare on that side for a long time. And finally, I decided to do exactly what he said. And man, my horse was so lame after that. You know, yeah, he was just so lame and so sore. And it was like immediate, you know. So you only took off a fraction here. Okay.
Yeah, about 0.5 centimeter. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be very much, very, very little. You know, it wasn't.
Look at the repercussion of just taking off that small amount.
Yeah, and so just a minute, I gotta save this here. Hold on. I want to take a picture of this. Oh yeah, they're big on all taking this down now, but let's go look and see. Let's see, copy. Just a second here. Okay. Okay, so see what I did was I came in and I just literally took it down. See what you'd have to do to get that? Are you there?
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting her right on her bulb. And I mean, even just taking that 0.5 centimeter, she was sore. Because what I realized by doing that was that I dropped more weight onto the toe, and the sole is already skew. So she was now having some significant pressure on that lateral toe area, and she was sore. I had to boot her for 2 days and keep her on the grass because she wasn't happy. So if I
Wasn't
had
happy.
done what you did to Vala, I can imagine she would have been dead lame.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah. Valor, he was dead lame, you know. And of course, then it just made it worse. The flare got worse because it's not really a flare, you know, because first of all, the support is not the same as a heel buttress. And so, and because you're taking it lower, all those horn tubules are at more and more of a slant pushing forward. And so they push that wall out, you know. Do you have a sole view?
Of the foot from now or from at that time?
Both.
I think I sent them to you today on the messenger. Let me just double check. I know I
Let's
sent
see.
you today's sole view.
Well, you know, I'm looking at your foot from back in 22,
Yeah,
and it just kind of, you're not totally back to there, but it just kind of puts you back in that direction.
yeah, exactly. But at least I know now how to get back to where we were because
Yeah.
we've been there. Yeah, so I sent you. Yeah, I've sent you today's sole view. I'm just trying to, I will pop you one now with a sole view from around that time. It won't be exact.
Okay. This is today.
That's
This
today.
one I'm looking at.
That's today.
Okay. Now see, we're working on Megan's horse, but this applies, all this stuff applies to all of our horses. See? So what I'm hoping is that as you're seeing this stuff, you'll be maybe seeing some stuff going on with your own horse and how it applies.
Well, what's interesting is I've just come across a photograph of the day I trimmed that lateral heel. And I've made a perfectly straight red line that my heels are perfectly balanced. So I was very proud of myself. And yeah. Let's see. And then this is, and I've sent you a sole view. I'm not sure about timing. That might have been earlier, but at least it gives a bit of an idea.
Yeah, you can see this. Let's see if I'm, okay, I'm sharing, right? All these pictures, you're seeing all these pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this again, here's your high-low situation, you know? And is this today?
That's today.
Okay.
Her left foot, the front, the low foot used to be, those bulbs used to be under the foot.
Under the foot.
Standing on the periople and the hair. So that's definitely coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing good there.
Yeah, it's slow, but it's also slow when you start with your first horse with tact for the first time because you're learning. You've never learned to trim before, so you're learning how to use the knives. You're learning everything on the fly.
Aha. Yep.
There should be one picture there. That was the day I trimmed, and look how in line my heels are, Linda.
Yeah. looks good. I mean, but do you see how deceptive it is?
Do you know, this has been for me, and I don't know if I speak for other people, but it has been the hardest understanding to grasp with the whole tact. Everything else, I've listened to videos and quite, I've heard you say something 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand that. But this distortion and this sort of scenario, it has just been so difficult for me to finally grasp how it actually becomes the way it becomes. And I don't know if other people have found that, but this for me was just a brain. Oh, I just couldn't get it.
Yeah. Hey, me too. Okay. Me too. same deal. And so here's something interesting to notice on this. If we look at this foot here, look at, let me do a annotate here real quick. Oh, okay, look at how straight this is here. See that? The foot it is straight. It's the capsule that's skewed, you know, and skewing the foot as well. And another thing, you know, you kind of notice is just how this is pulled down. This cartilage is pulled down. Okay, but what I want you to see is how straight this is. Now, that's not straight for sure. Okay, but then watch now what happens once you cut that heel down. See, this is like the picture that I just showed you where he's holding up the rasp. He's looking
Yeah.
at it like this. That
Yeah.
he's going to lower that down. Okay, but now watch. Just a minute here. Clear all drawing. Okay. Let's see. Annotate. Okay, now look. See how it's not straight?
Yeah.
You know, how this part, you know, this foot wiggles back and forth, you know, and also how that capsule is can also pull it. It pulls the foot in a certain direction. Okay, so now here's what had happened again. If you were to try and line this all up with that again, you know what? If I was to take and put this in a program and rotate it, this heel's going to still look high.
Yeah, I would have,
You
I
see?
think, you know, I would have had to take it down to the bulb if I'd wanted it to be straight. And I
Oh,
knew
I
that
think-
that was not, you know,
Yeah.
not the right thing to do, but I was certainly going to take it down some way because I just knew that it needed to.
Well, bless your heart, you know, for being so humble and everything, you know. That's really interesting. Even, you know, and the more you stare at them, the more you see the differences in how this looks here. And you can see this just looks kind of stretched more that way and things like that. Well, really interesting. And so now what I'm looking forward to is seeing you like totally grow that back and seeing that side of the foot come back to looking like it did and even better.
Yeah.
Than it did. That'll be really interesting. So
I will keep
all
you and
right.
everyone updated. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Linda, for all your
okay.
patience and for explaining the same thing 40 times to me. I finally got it into my thick head, and
Well,
I will
dear,
keep you updates.
I have to re-explain it to myself over and over and over again because you see how deceptive it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it is not easy to understand because what you're seeing with your eyes, I mean, you're just looking at this 5-dimensional. Well, let's see, 3 dimensions. Okay, so you got the foot. It's a 3-dimensional object. You got the capsule. It's a 3-dimensional object. So you're dealing, and let's just add continual growth. Let's make that the 7th dimension. So we got a 7-dimensional object we are dealing with here.
Yeah.
You know, okay, well, all right. Well, what time is it? It is 1:40. Let's see. Can we take like a 10-minute break? I'll end this YouTube and start another one. And we'll take a 10-minute break. Get yourself something to drink, some coffee. We're going to come back. And let's see. What was I going to do?
I know Eleanor asked for some help.
Oh yeah,
but
okay, that's right.
She sent a message on the group saying she had to go out to the animals.
Okay.
She said she should be back soon, so she might be back when we come back.
Okay, that's great. All right, well, let's all take a break then for 10 minutes. Well, let's see. Let's meet back here at 2. That's a 20-minute break, but I'm sure people got stuff they can do, right? So let's meet back here at 2, and then we'll go for another hour, and I'll help her. And if anybody has any questions, try to answer some questions or do something like that. Okay.
Thanks, Linda.
I got to go check on my squirrels. See, we got these 2 baby squirrels we raised. I transferred them to a cage, big cage outside. I started letting them out, and I'll got to go out and make sure they ain't been eaten by hawks yet. So, okay. I'll show you some pictures when I get back. They're so cute. Okay, now where is the YouTube thing? Oh, well, let's close that. I'll put a picture on here or something. So there's something here. Let's see. Stop live stream. Okay. So if you're watching